But, you know, I still fucking have to find the work and fucking just paint. And that's the one thing I wish you would do. Just fucking paint and just shut up and just fucking paint.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
How do you navigate originality and a career in the digital age of misinformation, empty promises, get-rich-quick schemes in the guise of finding your artistic voice? It's very difficult. Everyone wants to know that, but you can't you cannot fast track it. And virtually you are competing with millions of others, creators, artists, what have you, all for the same brass ring or golden ring in whatever case. And the reality is 80% of artists make about $10,000 a year. Only 3% of a graduating class of any art school globally will actually make art and money from their careers. Others will work in ad agencies, galleries, libraries, archives, work for art curators, art consultants, what have you. But the reality is, it is a dog-eat-dog world that you are faced with. YouTube, since its inception in 2005, has virtually become a massive social media platform and one of the third largest platforms for globally for people to get their information, their entertainment, and how they can actually gain knowledge to certain things, be it crafting, art, utilities, hobbies, news, everything. And it's only going to get better. YouTube has about 250 million active users monthly. About estimated around 66 million are artists. Think about that in a bigger scale. That's a lot of paintbrushes and a lot of people vying for your attention. Now, what makes me qualified in actually making this video? Well, I've been an artist for 35 years. I virtually started off as a tattoo artist, but I wanted to be an illustrator. So back in the day when I went to art school, everything was done by hand before actual Adobe and all that started. We still had computers, but I learned from the cut and paste and pen and ink, drawing, paintbrush, you name it, that's how I went. I've exhibited internationally. I've had brands such as Nissan, Sony Music, Fred Perry, the Amy Winehouse Foundation, Gestorini and Brooks virtually use my art. I've cultivated a certain followings, and I have people who seek me out to get tattoos around the world because of my clientele. Now, that doesn't make me any better than anyone else. However, it makes me highly experienced in how to navigate, because I didn't actually graduate from art school. I went, I dropped out, I said, fuck this, and kept the ball rolling. And you can too. However, it is a trial and error, and I'm just going to share my opinion now. These are my opinions. It's not meant to virtually hate anybody, but like the saying goes,
if you can't say anything nice about someone, come sit by me.
dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun. Hi, pigs.
What I'd like you to do is thank you for joining today, and I'm Henry Haight, and thank you for visiting my channel. My pronouns are,
I guess you can dare lick my balls.
and
That's my purse. I don't know you.
And that one too. Now, within the YouTube sphere, there is the good, there is the bad, and then there's the, all right, I'm going to say ugly. But I'm not saying it in the ugly like the art is ugly. I'm just saying there are certain things within the social media construct or universe that can be considered ugly because some people resort to these certain things. So that's all I'm saying, okay? So don't get your panties in a twist. Don't come for me with all your pitchforks and, okay? This is simply my opinion on this dog and pony show and this channel. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I'll wait. Now, although YouTube has the art community or the anointed art community where they deal with manga and kawaii inspired art or crafting type of things, there's particular art on social media and YouTube that I actually find very good. And I'm going to give you reasons why you should check these people out. Because by watching how they work, you can actually learn a lot. By zipping it and just watching what they do, you will actually start to see. I believe, like, one of my favorite things to do is go to a park and people watch, because I like to see expressions. I could tell who's happy, who's in pain, or who's going to break up just by by their body language. Galleries are a great way to people watch as well, because you actually see how people react emotionally to pieces. As far as the good, one of the good things that I found on YouTube was an artist by the name of Terry Urban. Now, the reason I think Terry Urban is a great artist is because his hustle, he diversifies not only his paint, but he makes shoes, custom-made jackets. His art, virtually from murals to everything, is a multi-tiered, entry-level format for anybody that can get a t-shirt, a print, a painting. And also his paintings are actually very accessible to own. You know, you could buy a painting for 4 figures. Now, he is what we would consider a neo-expressionist in the same vein as Jean-Michel Basquiat and a few others. He is from San Clemente, California, and I love his skull paintings. It has a punk rock DIY ethic that I love, as well as he harks to a simpler time with comic books, pulp novels, movie ephemera, cowboys, the Wild West, comic books, you name it, it's all in there except the kitchen sink. And virtually when you hear him talk about his practice, it's very inspiring, as well as very down to earth. Have a look.
As the paintbrush hit the canvas, I was like mind blown. It was just so much pain and anguish and energy and wisdom just came out inside of me, and I was just bawling while painting this piece. It's kind of like in Wizard of Oz where Dorothy goes from black and white to color, and that's exactly what happened with my brain. It just went like just exploded into all kinds of different energy.
Now, the next artist I'm going to talk about is someone I mentioned on this channel previously on my last video about talent not being enough, and that's Andrew Tischler. Now, Andrew is a scenic landscape artist and portraiture artist from, I believe, New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand. Don't come for me. Boo! Anyways, I love watching him paint, but the thing that I would suggest about watching Andrew Tischler is how he controls his brushes and the choice of brush. He doesn't use a big brush or whatever because, one, the choice of brush is going to be paramount to how you master the fucking painting. And that is crucial. And he is impeccable at it. I have one of his daggers. It's over there somewhere. I use it all the fucking time, and I swear I will cut a bitch with it. But watching him with his dagger brushes and virtually his no thrills approach to it, he doesn't decipher this mystical thing. He virtually just says it quite clearly and easy to follow. But watching how he just controls the paintbrush is, just watch what he does, is a masterclass in itself.
If you're feeling stuck with a painting and you feel like giving up, you're probably focused on the wrong thing. Stop focusing on that end result and just paint. You see, It's not about the outcome. It's about the process.
And next on the good list is Minh Swenson. He is a journalist, an art aficionado, a videographer who has a channel here on YouTube. I came across his videos about 6 years ago, where it was one, I believe he was covering Kenny Scharf, who I love. And Kenny Scharf was a New York graffiti artist who I believe is now here in California. And Eric actually covered a video on Instagram of my solo show in LA under the Pleasure District. But he covers a wide barrage of artists, multidisciplinary facets and mediums, from the outsider art, underground art, to fine art, high art, everything in between. And his videos, and hearing how he captures the artist and their thoughts on their creative process, is something to really just binge watch. I can watch his stuff and I'm always going to see what's he going to come up with next, or whose work is he really going to do. He covers artists of color, female artists, gay artists, whatever, and virtually he shows different avenues and different levels of art, which is amazing. I give him full props for it, and a nice guy. Next on the good list, are you a good witch or a bad witch? I'm a good witch. No. Next on the good list is Andrew Salgado. Now, Andrew Salgado is an American painter living in London that I came across several years ago when he asked to paint my piercer. Virtually, he is known for these large, impactful, expressive portraits of both men and women. A few years ago, he changed up his artwork to where virtually it turned it on its head and just did something completely different. We say again, it's on the vein of the neo-expressionism, portraiture, cubism, and he works in oils, acrylics. His color palette in each painting is captivating, and to stand in front of one of his portraits or paintings is just incredible.
I think there's this misconception with a lot of people that, like the artist has a profound vision. He knows exactly what he's doing. He comes in and he executes it. But I think a lot of other artists look at other artists and think that, they know exactly. They just come in and just, George slay the dragon. And that's certainly not. Practice with coming back and putting the tube out or putting the paint back out and mixing the paint around, and you mix with the oil, and suddenly it's this sense of elation that starts to come over, which sounds like talking bullshit, but it reminds me why and how I can spend all this time by myself alone in the studio and feel in a sort of perfunctory act, right? Like actually what I do is not all that exciting. Like the result is exciting, but the act is just, okay, paint, solvent, linseed, mix, apply, and repeat. But there's something really profound and in that perfunctory act. There's something satisfactory and I think the whole act of painting is sensuous.
The next one that I found on this list as the good is Fourth Cone Restoration. Now, Fourth Cone Restoration is a company in California, another company from California, that do restoration like Baumgartner, but they primarily work with prints, posters, and restoring paper art. And if anyone who is an artist knows that if you draw a lot in your studio, drawings, prints can get warped, damaged, and watching them, and this is an issue that all artists contend with, moisture in the air. If you have a humidifier, it would behoove you to get, one on Amazon for about 30 quid or $30. Like John O'Dry, they show wetting the paper and virtually the damage that happens to some of these prints or pieces of art that virtually need tender loving care. One of the things that I love is that how they're always showing the use of distilled water. Now, I use distilled water in a lot of my work. I don't use tap water. I use distilled water. You can get a small bottle that can last you forever. If you're painting, or put them in Posca pens, liven up the remnants of paint inside the pens to give it a little more life, because there are less impurities in that, and you have to think in Carvel. Watching them work is stunning, and how they color match paint and pencil, and virtually just, it's a masterclass in how to actually fix little problems within your own papers, or if you get damage to stuff. It is a channel worth watching. Last on the good list is Tenhundred. Now, I give this guy props because he has a hustle. Like Terry Urban, he does his paintings. He comes from I would say, this street skate culture, in a sense, of murals, t-shirts, stickers, and he has a thing for turquoise, turquoise and orange, violet run through his work a lot. Those are like his choice color. Again, this kid has diversified his range in terms of t-shirts, stickers. There's a price point for every entry level. His challenges, which one of my favorites recently I came across was where he redesigned an album cover, and I thought, okay, if I was going to redesign an album cover, which one would I do? And I chose X Under the Big Black Sun, which is a very sentimental album to me as a teenager in the punk scene in LA when I was growing up, and you can see it here. But Tenhundred really has a hustle where he is just a one-man army in a machine of just cranking out work, continuing. Virtually, I know in 10 years' time, he's still going to be making art, and I would like to see where his art goes. These artists that I've put on this list, it's just that they continually doing this. And, Tenhundred and Terry Urban and all these other guys, they're knocking it out of the park. I would definitely ask you guys to check out each one of these people. Okay, now we're into the bad. Now, before people get upset, it makes no good and no use of actually just saying stuff just to hurt someone's feelings without giving any kind of input of how this could improve. Now, the reason I say these are bad is because, one, they can be misleading to certain people as a yardstick of, well, if they're doing it, why can't I do this? And everyone's creative path is going to be different. And so that's why I think these ones in the bad list are misleading of what they actually think an artist is or does.
You're a walking lie and I can see right through you.
And I'm going to give my reasons why, and then I'm going to give how I feel that they could actually improve. So the first on the bad list, I made a video about this broad about 5 months ago, and it's kind of taken a life on its own. Kelsey Rodriguez, where someone accused her of running a Ponzi scheme. I don't think she's running a Ponzi scheme, but I don't like how she uses the word artist in art community, or the royal we.
Shit, she should have brought a damn hairdresser. Ooh.
I do think she's a content creator. I give her, props for having a hustle. But the fact that she's actually critiquing other people when she doesn't follow through with her own advice herself. And anyone that has a business knows if you're going to actually be good, damn good at your job, you need to lead by example. That means Instagram, whatever, the marketing and strategy that way, because there are thousands of artists who use Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and, well, not so much Twitter anymore, but, everyone's like, nah. But anyways, virtually marketing themselves, and someone like Anna Wyatt, who's now, before was selling a painting or work for $400, virtually now her work is worth $1 million. Now that's 1 in a million, going back to the just 3%. However, it's a lottery, yes. And if you don't take a shot and you don't do it, you miss out. And I do take offense that she's actually telling these impressionable people that, giving them advice on their work when she doesn't even do this. You're only making a painting once every 3 months. Really? I do think that my advice to Kelsey is that, one, if she learned brush control, learned the master principles, or what she calls the boring stuff that I don't want to do, and they'll make it fun.
I've been trying to teach myself everything on my own through resources that I've found online. And while I do think I'm growing faster than I was before, I don't think that I'm growing as fast as I could be, that I know that I'm capable of.
Girl, bye. I'm done.
Because studying art without art school is just genuinely really tricky. There is no one to hold me accountable, to force me to study the art fundamentals that I find really boring, and the boring stuff, of course, just happens to be the things that are genuinely holding me back the most, that are really preventing me from being able to make that art that I really want to make.
Girl, bye. I'm done. I'm just saying.
No, you have to learn it, because every artist who succeeds learns that shit and learns it down. Once you know the fucking rules, then you can break the rules. But if you don't do it and you don't follow through with your social media and any of those things, if you're just on Discord or whatever, those Dungeons and Dragons, I'm a 56-year-old guy. I'm not on these things. You know, I've got better shit to do than like staying in bed and complain. But you know, I've been on the hustle on this, and it's still, I still love it. I still do it. So, you know, if she learned brush control, and if she stopped fucking with that tonalism and her syllabus kind of vocabulary, if she started painting and picked a different color that made her nervous and made a sharp left or a sharp right, her artwork would actually go somewhere else. Also, if she's going to take a photo of something, do the fucking photo. Don't change it. Like her 1 year on a piece of art, it looks nothing like the fucking photo and virtually completely different. What's the point in taking the photo if you cannot actually follow the photo? Once you hone it down, you could pull a David Hockney and change it up in any hot pink and dayglow green. I don't care, but you learn the principles first. Then you can then lead by example. Otherwise, you're just falling flat on your face and people will suss you out. Second on these bad list, Valerie Lynn. Now, people are going to go, why are you so mean? Here's the thing. If Martha Stewart made videos about painting, this is what her videos would look like. A little better and with better decor. And I actually think better paintings. But hear me out. Valerie Lynn will do performative stuff. She does, you know, the rabbit skin glue with a little beaker and the swirling, and then roll out the duck canvas or whatever linen she's using. And virtually, I'm like, doesn't this bitch have a bolt to like just roll what she needs rather than throw all that? It's just like, this is all for YouTube. It isn't the way a practicing artist does, because they just want quick, concise, chop, chop, chop. I got shit to do. And then there's the long, deranged, I wouldn't say deranged. Deranged is like long, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? Convoluted psychobabble.
I feel the muscles on my back. You know what's funny? I never do these things for myself. Going to a spa, swimming, whatever, fun activities, I rarely do it. And I always tell myself, I have to accomplish something to treat myself good.
6.5 hours later.
But it's helpful, so I achieve more, I accomplish stuff, and I grow. But sometimes, or often,
Day 2.
I forget I don't do this.
1 eternity later.
Here's the magic. If you take mindful rest, you will be way more efficient. You will make much more beautiful work, authentic work. Yeah.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Going to swim is mindful resting for me, because
I'm like, Jesus Christ, word salad for days, and she's like this, and she's deep, and then she's gonna go to the park, and then virtually she's, you know, she's like 23, and like life hasn't happened to her yet. So, and until then, she should just be knocking fucking work out until life kicks her in the teeth. Then she's gonna have to fucking figure out what she's gonna do with actual real life problems. But you know, but people see this and go, oh, you know, this is great, this is lovely. I would love to sit on my ass and just have psychobabble and just blah, 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 blah. I'm probably doing it now, but but you know, I still fucking have to find the work and fucking just paint. And that's the one thing I wish you would do. Just fucking paint and just shut up and just fucking paint. And I'm just like, just fucking paint. Just, ugh. not demure. Her too. Make a sharp left, sharp right. Get out of your fucking comfort zone and really paint your pain or what's bothering you, because that might be a lot more interesting. She's the Enya of painting. There, I said it.
Look it up.
No hair, don't care. The last on the list is one that just virtually... Now, this dude rubs me the wrong way, because essentially on YouTube, all his videos are make so much money in a month, make so much money in 2 weeks. But yet his website, and the weird thing is that these ones on the bad list, there's limited stuff on their websites, and with this guy Dries, I think that's it. And but his videos are how to make money, and I've been doing this, and I'm on this thing, and virtually great. And again, this goes back to people who want to actually make a career and then are fed these hypotheses of how to short track or fast track how to get rich. Because everyone wants to know, like, I'd like a bigger dick and $3 million, but I didn't see that happening anytime soon. So I have to fucking keep working so I can pay to get my dick bigger. And I don't but someone sometime is going to look at this in 30 years' time and this guy is crazy. But anyways, I just think that, if Dries did actually make art and be interesting, rather than having that 1 or 2 paintings like Kelsey in the background or Valerie Lynn. They always have their same images on the back, which tells me they haven't sold the actual original art. And right now, like I said, the art market is in a lull. Living artists are finding it very difficult to maintain their primary entry price points. We have to learn how to multitask as well as diversify, and that also means that we have to adapt. If you don't adapt to different platforms, learn certain techniques and stuff, you get left in the dust. And then rather than following trends, you virtually get as a footnote in your work, because they don't see it actually improving, or let alone showing where your mind and your talents are, or how they've grown. And with someone like, I came across a guy who goes by the name of on Instagram, The Painted Ladies, where he did a painting of a pink woman behind a cactus, and I was just like, wow, and like Anna Wyatt, it was just like the single study, impactful, very simple, but at the same time it's a cool painting, and it made me stop. So I was just like, these things that you have to keep doing to virtually make your work stand out from everything else, because that's why you're putting paint to brush. You're trying to get someone to stop and take notice. And I think that if they took a risk on their own work and overcame that fear, they might come up with something brilliant. What better way to succeed than to shut my mouth and go, okay, Henry's not going to say shit anymore. So, Kelsey, learn brush control. Learn the fucking principles. Fucking do the work and copy the goddamn photo verbatim. Otherwise, you're just willy-nilly. And Valerie Lynn, just fucking paint. God damn it. Just paint and just pick a different color. Something contrasting than just that you would never use before. And Kelsey, stop using beige. Ugh. Who wants a brown painting on their wall? There's nothing worse I can think of than that. Okay. Now the ugly. Now, I say this is ugly because I think there are certain artists that reduce themselves, who now live in a society where social media and YouTube, we are vying for someone's attention span as a currency to get monetized and stuff, and virtually show the work that we do. And some artists, virtually, there's one guy on Instagram that he'll stand next to a painting in his underwear. And I don't mind him standing, okay, this is where I'm gonna sound like a pig, but I don't mind him standing, you know, all hairy chested in his underwear. He could be, you know, standing next to a fucking alligator. I don't care. He's in his underwear. I'm stopping and looking. But, you know, I'm not looking at the painting. I'm looking at him. And this is with other artists, females, that virtually, they flick their hair, they do certain performative stuff, and they try to show this, and this one virtually grates my skin, and where they sit there with a painting and go, I'm going to charge $45,000 for this, when I wouldn't give that person $50. And because artists, when they sell their work, some people think I'm going to flip this someday, but then if you're giving someone 4 figures, you know, they're like, yeah, I'm investing in this person. I'm going to look at it for a while, but then eventually I'm going to want to recoup my investment. Galleries promise, this is what we say this work is. If the artist isn't making any work, their price depletes. The ugly part of this is that money becomes a factor of it. Mark Rothko believed that the task of an artist is to claim space on a rich man's wall. And recently, Stuart Semple has come in under fire because he released a Klein's Blue that he is now being sued by the estate of Yves Klein for his Kleinish blue and using the copyright image of the blue hand. And this is the thing. Some of these people who've built these estates have money to burn. And it isn't about the art anymore. It's about money. And that's the ugly thing about it. I've made a lot of money in art, and I've made no money in art. It is a feast or famine thing. But the ugliness of this field and job is money, because it can corrupt. There are art dealers and art collectors who use their influence to influence the price of paintings. And we now live in a society, they don't clap at, you know, a Salvador Dali or Picasso or Modigliani. They clap at the price, or a Banksy. And, you know, I don't think Robert really cares. He's made his money. He can do what he wants. And he still pokes his nose and thumbs at, you know, the status quo, which I give him props for. But the ugly part is money, and that what some people, at what lengths people do to try to get those likes, those, you know, Roxanne, you don't have to put on that dress tonight. That's it. You know, if you believe in your work and keep at it, you're going to get better, and the money will show up eventually. But the whole thing is, it's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter, and at the end of the day, you can say, I fucking earned it and I deserved it. If you feel you need to, like, sit in your underwear and, you know, do a little deep shoulder action, it's distraction from the art. And one of the things is that within social media, the performative part of social media can also be distraction to the art, because it's just for content rather than the purpose of art. So you have to ask yourself, where in those parts do you stand? And where do you find your inspiration? And of those people, what do you like about their work? And how would that impact your work? So that's why I made this video, is to ask you those questions of, you know, how do you navigate through all that clutter to get to your own creative space, to where you go, I'm on the right track. It's a slow burn, and it can be completely and definitely worth it. Put yourself out there in the physical world as well as the digital world. Follow through on all aspects of that. Keep creating, keep trying, you will get there. And believe in yourself, first and foremost. No one can sell your art better than you. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. I want to thank you for watching this video. Smokey is upset with me. Upset, Poochie, upset. I thank you for watching. Hit that notification bell for all the new updates. And again, thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. And let me know who your favorite artists are to watch, or who you think would inspire me, or to show up and let me know. Anyways, guys, take care. I will speak to you guys later. Peace out.
Your call.